screen up. All right. Welcome everybody to the Outreach Committee meeting on October 30th. We are you got rid of the what we are about.
Oh, it's not here.
Oh, it went somewhere.
I'll
But
find it.
mhm. We are a community focused on securing data in use, and we love everyone's collaborations. Our members are welcome. Our projects that meet our criteria are welcome. And we appreciate all your participation in this meeting. And here's the antitrust policy. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to Rian or any LF members there. Here's our agenda today. We'll go over some election information as you all probably received the dates. We'll go over that real quick, and we'll update on the brand repositioning, the messaging guide first, GB feedback update, and brand visual redesign. I kind of like last minute popped it in there. I'll explain when it get there. We'll update where we are in terms of IDC analyst engagement. Last but not least, we will cover the outreach budget and event roadmap, just really high level, and we'll wrap it up with a KubeCon and FOSDEM update and final kind of a shape of a KubeCon activation. And Rian.
Yes, the minutes for last week's meeting, or the previous meeting, we have received no corrections or updates. So if there's no objections here, I think we can approve the minutes. I hear no objections, so I consider it approved. Thank you very much. All right. Then the Outreach Committee Chair and Co-Chair elections. Nominations have been streaming in. But the final date is November 1st, which is this Friday. So please do nominate yourself, or if you want to nominate somebody else, just make sure you got their permission, because we don't want somebody unwillingly nominated. You have the opportunity to do the great work Kate and Leo has been doing this last year. So please do nominate yourself. Kate, any words on that?
No, I think we have. Is everyone reply all to the email announcement, which goes to everyone in the email list? Is that correct?
Yes. Most people, everybody that replied privately, I asked them to reply in the mailing list, because let's have transparency and everybody can see who's in the running.
Right.
So,
right. That's what I wanted to make sure. Okay, great.
And if you don't have the thread to reply in, just contact me. I'll help you with the right information.
Okay, so we have 2 more days. So hope we hear more nominations there. We ideally want to have, chair and, vice chair or co-chair, because it just, it just becomes a pile of work. and it is a good work. But I found that it would be much easier with the 2 co-chairs. So please consider. All right, I'll hand it over to you, Ab and Rachel.
Sure. Yeah, so update on the Confidential Computing Brand Working Group. Thanks to everyone for the input, the contributions. So the first draft has been completed. And in the last weeks, we had the working group meeting, and the governing board provided an update to the governing board. The consensus in both meetings that the draft is in good state to be finalized for publishing. We also agreed that we keep the document open for feedback until next week. And if there's no major changes, the working group and the outreach committee will start working on finalizing the document. I know Rachel and Jen have been working together. As you can see, the links at the top right of the slide referring to the actual the document, the guide, messaging guide, as well as an Excel sheet that Jen prepared to make it more readable and also more accessible in terms of actions and what things to be delivered. I know there were some comments as well on the Excel sheet, but that's really a working document for execution, as I understand it. And Jen and Rachel can correct me here. Yeah, the governing board expressed satisfaction with the progress and really thanked everyone involved, whether it's in the working group, the outreach committee, as well as all contributors and reviewers of the guide. So, and I reiterate on personal level as well, my many thanks to Julian and Rachel for driving a lot of these, especially when I was away. Next steps is for the working group to review any additional feedback that might come in between now and next week. And in the next working group, which is next Wednesday, establishing the work items and timeline for finalizing the guide, publishing any collaterals that we think will be relevant and needed for that. So I know Rachel and Jen, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, thanks, Ab. And then for the creative work, and then Jen already has done a great job in putting this in queue for the creative design team. So once we have the copy finalized, and so that will go through second iteration in November, and we'll bring this to outreach meeting again, and for your final approval, and then before proceeding to the governing board for final review. And once we have the deliverable done by December 1st, and Jen and the creative team will pick this up and for a short turnaround of the design work. So that is the update, and I really appreciate everyone's help.
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, so that's the update on the brand new positioning working group. I don't know if there's any questions or comments.
Awesome, really great job, you guys. And with this publishing in the new year, so I think we are gonna wrap it up and then have the white paper ready to be published by December, and we'll probably release it in January. And along with that, I was also thinking to do a little bit of a visual update on our design. So we sort of changed it this coming into the 2024. It wasn't this design in a previous year. But I was also thinking that we want to add some more of the data privacy and, data security, that kind of aspect into our design. So I am working with Jen and with the creative team to see if we can modify it in a way not to drastically change, to redesign, but just a slight modification. And another thing that I was thinking of is ZCC needs a mascot. And it just kind of stemmed from an event that I went recently, and we're brainstorming it. And there is actually a questionnaire that creative team and Jen sent me for me to kind of go through and really find what is our, the character, if that is maybe. So I'll kind of go through the exercise and I'll call for help if I need any help, but that's something that I had in mind. Any feedback and idea from the group here?
Just a couple of thoughts on the mascot side, just being mindful of any cultural elements for whatever we choose, something that really works globally. For the web and digital design, that's basically the website and the layout and the sections. Is that what we're targeting here?
Yeah, and you may not even notice it. I just wanted to add some more component and just slight modification. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm not sure if I don't want to make it like a necessarily a topic here right now, but maybe but I just want to throw it out there. One thing that, and I know it's not part of this, but I think our logo is a little bit of a challenge because right now is just purely the word consortium is bigger than confidential computing. I think that's something that hit me the first time I looked at, started looking into the confidential computing consortium. I don't know if like how to if there's a way to discuss that, but something to keep in mind. I think that's for me, like it's just something that we could do better, in my opinion.
You
Just a
know,
thought.
that is such a great point because we were just discussing about KubeCon, one of the KubeCon swag, and we put our logo in, and like you said, confidential computing is very small and tiny, and consortium is big. So
Yeah.
that is a very valid point. Thank you. We might have to brainstorm on that with the creative
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, that's otherwise definitely. As I said, the mascot part is just being mindful of any cultural elements there that works globally. So
Amazing. All right, we'll report back how it's bubbling up. Okay, IDC analyst engagement. So we had a small group. Some of you are in this call and reviewed the proposal, and there were some back and forth, and then we in the end we provide our feedback. So there were some feedback on some coverage of topics and some feedback on the budget side and the coverage on the countries. And by the way, the budget we kind of preliminarily set for 100K. It should stay under 100K, but that was kind of a number that I came up with, and that was a number that IDC had given us. Like they had it from 85K to 120, I think, ish options. So with that also, you know, the 100K was the right amount, but that is not approved by the GB yet. So all of these will probably depending on the budget approval as well. But the survey topic, if you look at the list on the left side, and as you can notice, there is comment which IDC will work with CCC team to continuously tweak and edit these survey criteria and topics. But and on the right hand side, there is countries to cover. So we actually did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. So if we were to cover all 6 countries, that would be a certain amount. And if we limit it to 4 and then drop Canada and France, since the market might be too small to measure at this point. So then if we prioritize these 4 other countries, then it'll be lower amount and things like that. So we are evaluating. So all that to say is, I think where it's shaping with the scoping out the survey criteria, and CCC, IDC will continuously engage with the CCC to fine tune the survey questions and things like that. I think that is very, very good. But what I will have to do now on is to get the budget approved. And depending on how much we get approved, it will probably affect the number of countries that we can cover and some of the topics that we can cover or criteria that we can cover. Any question or feedback on this? And my question is, do you all believe these, if we were to publish this white paper with covering these various topics and covering these custom survey to these countries, do you all feel that this will help you in your organizations with, I don't know, your goal and any other kind of comments would be welcome, because we're
Yeah.
spending a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's fantastic. Oh, sorry, Ab, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I do
go
think
ahead,
it's
Lauren.
Thank you so much. I think it's fantastic that we're doing this type of research. IDC did just release some data on the server market, and they specifically pulled out information on CC and the opportunities there. So I think the more visibility we can get in IDC and the more surveys that we have come out of that, their own reports that they're sending out to, companies are highlighting CC as a technology that they should be looking into. And any gaps that IDC is pointing out in their findings, we can add that as questions and use it in our efforts to build advocacy for it across every type of vertical organization. So I love this. I think it's going to be super helpful, at least for NVIDIA.
I
Thank
totally
you,
second that. Just toast my comment. That will be very, very useful for us. So see that Mike has raised his hand.
No, I just wanted to check in on the inclusion of China. I mean, I think there's some concern that it's interesting, but it's a market that's not accessible to some companies that are part of the consortium, because working in China takes a lot of effort and resources. And if we wanted an Asia Pacific country, should we look elsewhere? Just wanted to make sure that if that was a discussion point, did we want to get some additional views on China? Speaking on the Intel side, we see a lot of confidential computing action in China, but it's a market that we can play in because of our resources. Just wanted to see if any other participants wanted to put in a viewpoint on that.
Kate, did we discuss about Singapore, or am I confusing with something else?
There was a Singapore.
Yeah, and the case for Singapore is it is a financial services hub for the whole region. So that is basically a good case for it. On the other hand, it's a small country, and and it's concentrated, in terms of the market potential, but it is just not numerous. China, on the other hand, is much bigger, but again, it has the market entry challenges that Singapore does not.
Yeah, I mean, from the NARU's perspective, I think that we would be interested in any data about China, because it's definitely an important market, and I know that edge computing is being used, including by the government and other companies there. So I would be interested to have China in the report.
All right. Okay, I guess I just wanted to see if anyone had any objections to that change, or if we wanted to. It sounds like things are a go for information about China.
I think so. I think as well, what we have here is such a good spread in terms of topics as well, that second to the items mentioned before, it would be useful. I'm wondering if it's worth having a third option where we ask for the same amount of spend, that 600, but we distribute the assets to the 4, or we introduce another country there, but probably have one where we spend a bit more, maybe on the US and the broader economies, and then leave maybe the UK and Germany on their own. Does that make sense? So you've got option 1, then you have option 2, which remains at 600, but you have maybe 200 on the US and 200 on China and the rest of them there, and then a third option which has just the 4 countries and the reduced spend.
I see.
I mean, reduce spend. Oh, wait, sorry. I rescind my comment because I was going to open my mouth about something that is not actually true. So never mind.
Sorry, no problem at all. No problem at all.
I think I understand. We can definitely dial up and down on those, survey numbers, and we can propose to kind of customize these numbers of the options. So we can remain 600 total if the budget assuming the budget is approved for that amount.
Sure.
But we can dial back into, because there was some secondary that we left out on those, like for example, Canada and France. Then we can dial back down for those countries and up other numbers. And for example,
Yeah, it could be relative to the number of actors in those regions, etc., or those countries, etc. We can play around with
That's
it, but
great.
yeah, just to kind of give a bit more proposal, maybe encourage people to see a bit more than maybe the binary that's here. But yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, that's great feedback. And thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. So we'll pursue these 6 countries as of now, and we'll find different kind of a customization within this scope. But I'm hearing everyone's pretty aligned with where it's going so far. Is that correct?
Yeah, it seems that way. Seems that way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next, moving on. Speaking of budget, so I believe I shared this with the group here last meeting. So upper proposal is basically my number that I presented to the governing board. They are reviewing the budget, and obviously outreach takes a lot of money from the pool, and with the revenue and projection and everything they have to consider across the entire committee, they will either have to reduce, and most likely they will have to reduce. So we'll kind of have to work on that. But some of the big ticket item is definitely the analyst engagement as well as the events. But other costs will probably need to stay the same because those are more like fixed costs at this point. But analyst report and events are variable. So just FYI. And on the bottom, these are the event list for 2025. I went through some cleanup, and upper top 3 are what's been committed so far. So we have committed to FOSDEM, we have committed to OC3, we have committed to RSA. So those are in the works. Those are the contracts are already being signed at the moment and things like that. The other 4 events are in our priority list, which the level of a sponsorship, level of engagement would depend on how much level that we want to be involved. So those are kind of up in the air, but I secured the events with the projected amount on the right side. And on the yellow highlighted events are, we want to keep in our radar. We want to make sure that we submit, organic call for paper proposals and get some speaking engagement there. And maybe there is some side event that we can do with a member company or any type of partnership we are open to, but we may not be pursuing like full blown sponsorship, for example, but definitely need to keep these events in mind if there is any great opportunity that we can leverage. And if you go to the CC Outreach event tracker, if you click on it later on, whenever on your own time, you will be able to see this list in the spreadsheet and be able to see where the rationale came from and what we did in the previous year. There is all these different tabs captured from the previous years as well. So you can take a look at all these event lists that CCC has been involved. So feel free to leave any comments on the spreadsheet if you have any comments, or send me an email if you have any feedback. But I just wanted to keep everyone informed on the budget proposal and then the number that we originally proposed. And Rhiannon will let us know if we get the money or not.
I
Soon
was
enough.
about to chime in on the budget. So the budget is the biggest part of the budget is going towards general expenditure is going towards outreach. So I did share the budget with the Linux Foundation for oversight, and they said it is okay to spend into our reserve, but we should keep in mind that we need to grow membership or tone down next year, as we can't repeat the same next year without additional membership. So they said we should definitely think about what are we getting out of these events? Are we actually attracting members? Why are we doing the event? Because the outreach committee should basically, we publicize the work of CCC and show possible member companies why it's important what we're working on and why they want to participate. So we should have those conversations as well, so we can have another good run in 2026.
Absolutely. Let me know,
Mike?
Rian, if you, yeah.
Sorry, Mike's got his hand up. That's very, I cut you off.
Oh, no worries. Hey, so that is an interesting question, which is, traditionally as a vendor at an event, the point is to, make contact with potential customers and start folks moving down a sales pipeline. For the consortium, it's a little bit different. Which is, one, drive interest in the category of confidential computing, but also get people to join the cause. What's our offer to folks in that regard? What do we say? Here are the benefits of joining. Here's why you should join. Here's some incentive for you to join. Are we doing that at the events that we're participating in? We give some, and I'm just unaware.
So a lot of the conversations that Mike is driving is specifically around the value of being a member of the CCC. And on our webpage, we actually do have, I don't know if you've seen it, there's a specific page that says member benefits. I can find it a little later, or Sal, if you don't mind, you can just drop that in the chat, where we specifically discuss why it is important to become a member. And a lot of the conversations he have with possible members is why it's important to be in the room while we decide all these technological information around CCC. So yes, it is a driving focus specifically for Mike.
Okay.
Sal,
All right.
you had comment?
A quick comment on that. I'm about to send our final things to print for KubeCon, which is our next event. We have a document that outlines membership benefits. A nice way to generate passive leads at a booth for members is probably a one-pager or half-pager about our membership benefits that we've written up. Does that sound like something that we might want to try?
I mean, yeah, can't hurt. And I believe Mike goes all his events, and he does do like promote the membership, and he did bring in, the membership, although, it's hard. There hasn't been any like metrics that we track where it actually converted to the dollar amount that supports the revenue and whatnot. We've never worried about that at the outreach. And so I don't know if we would choose event, we would support those kind of initiative and then objectives, but I don't know if that falls under our scope of solely like sales pipeline and things like that. We will support, but I don't think we will be setting that kind of objective. Rian, you're on mute.
If I can just find the button. Yes, it's definitely not the responsibility of outreach to market, but it is when we do events, we should definitely consider how does that bring value to potential members and how we look to the world as participants. So yeah, the marketing is definitely not, and sales is not a outreach
Mhm.
activity.
Yeah, when I look at kind of so there is a different goal. One of the goal is to outreach for entering the new sector, or so some of these events that we are going, we're involved because we want to meet different verticals in different sectors. We do go to our community events, and we do host a lot of those events, but as well as a different sector that we do not really get to see. And I think our common goal is to reach more, industry that can benefit from confidential computing, and so that those could help naturally convert the other verticals to consider joining. So I can see in a holistic level that it can support each other, but yeah, there might be something that Mike can set it for the new year, and then we would be happy to support in a way that we can. Okay, move on. Okay, so Mike is actually in Japan. I think he has wrapped up, these 2 sessions, as well as some customer meetings or meetings. We will hear back the recap when he comes back in the next meeting. And we'll cover the KubeCon in the next slide. And FOSDEM, Sal, did you have a slide, or do you want to cover it real quick here?
There might be slides following this. There should
Okay.
be. But there's 2 updates, really 3 updates for FOSDEM. One, we've secured a full day dev room, and that's available as a CFP. That should be in the slide deck, and we'll be sharing that out on the mailing list. The other thing that we need to confirm on outreach is there is an opportunity for a stand for the CCC, and I believe it's no cost. My only question is, do we want 1 day or 2 at FOSDEM? I think given that it's no cost, 2 days makes sense. We're ready to submit. If anyone has any comments on that, that's the only thing I need for FOSDEM right now. 2 days make sense? Anyone think 2 days is worse than 1 meeting?
I think it makes total sense to cover both days. I think your concern may be, can we staff them?
So I do think so. We've just set up today. So during this call, a new FOSDEM thread has been started. I do think we're going to have enough people already present, CCC members, community members. So the other thing that we are setting up that I'll be able to provide more updates on is a dev room and social hour to go with that. And I am working with Ela and Pris to set that up. So we've got people locally helping us to get a good venue that's affordable. So that's excellent.
So just another comment on FOSDEM. There will be also, I think, an attested TLS dev room there. So that's a topic in the attestation series.
Yes, and I believe that's on the Friday, so it's perfect. So it doesn't conflict with us at all. It's a perfect crossover.
Yep.
Amazing. And OC3, so we will be sponsoring, CCC will be sponsoring OC3 at a silver level, I believe. And this will come with 15 minutes talk, as well as, since this year is going to be hybrid, which Lara can talk more about that, we will have a space on site there for, I think Mike, Marcel will be there, and any members that are local and available to be there, I would love to have them present there. I'm gonna link the CFP link on the slide, but Lara, do you have any comments or anything you want to remind people?
No, I mean, you wrote also in the slide, the CFP is open until December 13th. And I mean, everybody's familiar with OC3 here, but the big news, yes, is that we're going to have a hybrid for the first time in a really nice location here in Berlin. So hopefully everybody in this call and outside located in Europe, we will see each other in March. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And we will also explore your other events at KubeCon, I think, that you are hosting in-person events. So maybe something that we can brainstorm together.
Yeah, so we are still kind of organizing a lot there, so I don't have very fixed news, but as soon as I have, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Lara. RSAC, I already updated most of the stuff last time, but update would be we have secured finally the booth. Contract has been signed. And so just to remind, we have two contracts going on with the RSAC. So one is as the sponsor, we are using the booth space. This is paid engagement, which we will get free expo pass and some of those on-site perks. We will be able to have discount code for full conference pass and things like that. So those are a pretty good deal for the price that we're actually paying for this big space. And the other contract agreement is more like a barter. So we agreed to exchange promotions. So RSAC will promote CCC and CCC will promote RSAC as leading up to the event. So we'll need some help from Jen to publish some social posts, which I'll as soon as we get that contract signed, I'll involve you, Jen. But it's basically 3 social media posts and 3 newsletter and 1 dedicated email. So in the newsletter, we'll just kind of put the RSAC reminder or keynotes or speakers like lineup is out or something like that in the email newsletter for 3 times, and 1 dedicated email just solely covering our activation at RSAC. So we have done it for this year and it wasn't that hard. So and it wasn't that marketing-ish, like salesy either. So so that's the 2 agreement and contract that we have with RSAC. Okay, can move on to the next. Okay, so
Yes, we have everything ordered in for KubeCon. The only other thing that I'm sending to print today is that bingo sheet, which is completely up to date. And I will probably be sending a membership benefits as well. So we should have all of those available at the booth. Yeah, the one thing with this that I did not print was the H in cybersecurity stands for happiness. Did not get enough votes. And the final things that I sent to print are all compliant to the visual guide for CCC. So they are the colors and style. So we should be getting those. They're all ready to go. And I did order a bunch of extra CCC logo stickers that I'm happy to have members take and redistribute at the beginning of the year.
perfect. I'm so curious to see how these custom stickers perform, because 1, we have never done that, and 2, this grabs attention. So hopefully it does good work for you on site.
We'll see. And then on the next slide is the bingo thing, basically, which just identifies exactly where people need to go to get the right information about CCC. Those are good and gone to print. I will just add on to that order our brochures. So I think we're good there.
Okay, thank you so much for such a hard work on this, and thank you for the members who will be participating in the mini sessions and demos and booth staffing on site. We're so looking forward to it. And then another side note that I sometimes just kind of keep thinking about some creative idea just kind of pop in my head. I was looking at our YouTube channel And we do not have this like a sizzle video or like intro video on the front page where, you know, what it covers, like what this channel is about. Oops. Let's spell it all my water. What this channel is about, and you know, it's just kind of learn more about what this is. And I was thinking, since KubeCon, we will have an opportunity to have, you know, some members and our executive director at our TCA. And so I think it might be a great opportunity to film some of those like a short 30-second videos. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, how we can make that happen within a reasonable budget. So that's something that it might happen, just FYI. Brian, you want to go to the next slide? Oh, you did have the FOSDEM.
I did, but I made all of these updates in the last 10 minutes before this call, so you never know. Yeah, this covers in writing what I mentioned before, but I think it's good to know. So Fritz submitted the dev room overview and objectives, and we made sure that we're very clear about the kind of technology that we are trying to engage in and discuss at that dev room. I think that this is a great opportunity to submit and engage. My one thing about FOSDEM is I think it's the best opportunity because of the time and place of the year to get visual recordings of your talks because they're very easy to redistribute. FOSDEM has a very high redistributability to it because it's very well known. So people are searching FOSDEM and CC. So I'm gonna be making sure that we get those recordings, slicing them up, and making those available. So if video assets is important to you in Q1 of next year, FOSDEM is a place where CCC can help you to get those assets going around these topics. And then the next slide was the question that I asked before around 2 versus 1 days at a stand for CCC. I think we're happy for 2 days, so I think we're good to go.
Yes, we're good to go. Perfect. Thank you so much. On an FYI, I did send it to the internal coordinating group, but we should stay under $10K US for the social hour.
Perfect. And my last note, if you are interested in getting involved in the planning or knowing more about what we're doing for FOSDEM, there is a thread on the Slack simply called FOSDEM. Feel free to join in.
Amazing. Okay, I think that's it for today. Does anyone have any opens? If not, we can wrap it up here. Thank you, everybody.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank